Get your Bible open to Luke chapter 17. I have a very simple word tonight, basically 1 point, and we're just going to dance around that 1 point for a little bit. In Luke chapter 17, what I want to try to do is I want to try to paint a picture of what's happening in this chapter, but it's important that we take a look at what's happening throughout the book of Luke, even up to this moment in Luke chapter 17. So let's read verse 5. We'll camp there, and then we'll just kind of move around a little bit. Luke 17, verse 5. And the apostles said to the Lord, increase our faith. Let's read it again. And the apostles said to the Lord, increase our faith. Tonight I want to talk about faith. I want to talk about a drive that is essential, it's important for us when we talk about faith. In 1 Corinthians 13, it talked about the greatest is faith, hope, and love. The greatest of these is love. Sometime I would actually like to take each three of those words and unpack them and go after it. But tonight I want to just touch briefly on the word faith. We're in this room, most of us are in this room because we believe in something that at one point we didn't even know existed. But because of faith, it brought something from an unseen realm and it made it more real than us. The faith is one of those things, and tonight I want to talk about, my desire would be that when you leave this room tonight, that you would actually have a seed that would explode in you of the desire to literally go before the Lord and say, God, increase my faith. Up until this point in the book of Luke, this is what's taken place. The apostles were called the disciples, but in Luke chapter 9, it says the disciples came to Jesus and Jesus gave them power and authority. And then later in that chapter, they're referenced as apostles. So here's a group of men. This is what they've seen only in the book of Luke alone up until this moment when they asked Jesus for more faith. They saw 5,000 people get fed. They saw a boy get healed. They experienced being given power and authority, and they were sent out in Luke chapter 9, and they came back and told Jesus, basically said, Jesus, hey, that power and authority thing, it worked. The demons left, the lepers were healed, the dead were raised, and they came back with a load of stories, and I love it. At one point when they come back with then after that, the 70, he sends out 70 also, and when they come back and they tell Jesus it worked, Jesus begins to worship. It's amazing. It's the only time that I have found in the gospel that Jesus worships. Not the only time, let me make myself clear here. The disciples came back with testimonies, and Jesus' response was just to worship God upon hearing. So you had 70 people. You had the spirit of infirmity. Remember that individual, the spirit of infirmity. You had dropsy. You had lepers healed. You had an unclean spirit. You had a withered hand was healed. Jesus healed a multitude. Centurion servant gets healed. Quite a few people got raised from the dead, and demon-possessed people got set free. They saw all that, and they came to Jesus and said, increase our faith. There's something about faith that I want to camp on tonight. When you're not around it, you don't get hungry for it.
Come on. Yep.
Faith is one of those things that if you're not exposed to it, you don't want it. It's amazing to me that faith actually attracts faith.